Congratulations, you're on day 3. We are now talking about 48 to 72 hours after your baby is born. And this is going to be quite a big transition for lots of reasons. One is that your hormones are changing a lot. So we talk about the baby blues, and what that really means is that you might just be feeling incredibly emotional, teary, and it's so happy tears, sad tears, overwhelmed tears, all sorts of tears. Go with the flow. A lot of self-care needed in this time. But the other thing that's happening because of that big surge of hormones is that your milk is probably starting to come in. So your breasts feel full, engorged, tender to the touch. They've changed shape. They might be a whole lot bigger than you ever imagined they could be. And as a result of that, latching is going to change a little bit. So you might have just got your latch right, and now you have to relearn latching again because your breasts have changed shape and size, and it might have impacted your nipples as well, especially if your nipples were quite flat initially. Now you can just imagine your baby trying to literally latch on a balloon. There's nothing there. It's very difficult for them to grasp on anything because the nipple has flattened out. So once again, making sure that you've got help, support, and guidance when that happens. And most of the time you will still be in the hospital when that happens. So ensuring that you get the help of a lactation consultant or somebody who really understands breastfeeding, who can give you that support and guide you as to how to latch your baby. It is a time where sometimes nipple shields are recommended, and that should really be done with the help and assistance of a lactation consultant, because very often what happens with the nipple shields is that in my group, I see moms who are saying they started using nipple shields and now they can't feed without them. So if you are going to be using nipple shields, just being mindful that it's a temporary solution, and it's really just to help you through the next couple of hours while your breasts are so full and engorged, helping baby to latch on. And once the breast is soft, you can actually unlatch the baby, slip the shield off, and pop the baby back on because it was just until enough. The other thing, if you're not using a nipple shield, is just to do a little bit of hand expression to soften the breast enough that the baby is able to latch on. The second thing that you're going to notice is that your baby's behavior changes quite significantly. Now, if your baby was particularly sleepy in the last 24 hours, it might be that in this 24 hours, they are going to wake up and they are going to want to feed voraciously, and they almost feel and seem and look insatiable. And the reason for that is because your milk has come in, they've woken up, they've probably recovered, they've had enough sleep, they've recovered enough from their birth experience, they're moving more into feeding, and they're working together with you. Your milk has come in and they're saying, right, I'm going to help you empty it, because rather than pumping to empty, you rather let your baby empty so that your body's already working out how much it needs to make for this particular baby. Remember, it's all about supply and demand. So making sure that with the changed shape and size of your breast, that you're still able to get a good latch. Feeding still in response to your baby's cues, hungry cues and sleepy cues, being mindful that there is still no routine, there's no schedule, and that baby may seem insatiable, which will immediately make you think that you don't have enough milk. You do. Your breasts are really, really, really full, but your baby is now also learning to drink differently, because before, colostrum is coming out in small amounts. They have to work quite hard for it, and it's quite thick. The milk has got a different consistency, so their sucking pattern also changes, and they're learning to drink effectively to get that milk and to empty the breast. So it's once again a learning process for both of you. Go with the flow. Don't be disheartened. Don't think that you don't have enough, and don't be tempted to give supplemental feeds, especially at this time, because more than anything, you want to empty your breast because it is so hard and uncomfortable. And by giving a supplemental feed, it goes back to what we spoke about on the first 12 hours, where it gives you a false sense of security. Your baby will respond differently. They will go to sleep for a couple of hours, which will make you think that that's the way they're meant to behave, and it's not. Reminder also that, remember, I'm talking about a specific 24-hour period when your milk comes in. So as your milk does come in, the baby's behavior will change. So go with this next 24 hours with the babe, with your milk supply now coming in and your baby and you working out how to work with that. Now more than ever is the time where your partner can really step up and support you. And the best way of them supporting you really is with words of encouragement, because they need to trust this process as much as you do. And it can be very difficult for them as well, especially when they see you sleep deprived and possibly very emotional, struggling to latch baby if you are struggling, breasts are full, tender. So they want to help. And sometimes they will suggest the wrong things, like giving supplemental feeds or stopping breastfeeding altogether, rather than understanding. So for them, they need to understand as well that this is part of the process. This is part of the process of establishing your breast milk supply and your baby and you learning each other. And more than anything, you just need words of love and support and encouragement and a deep sense of trust in the process, because the more your partner is able to trust it, the more you will be able to trust it. And the other way that they can help you is making sure that all of your needs are met, because at this stage, everything is going into the baby. And it's very easy for you to forget how important it is that you care for yourself. So your partner can support you by making sure that you are getting those 3 meals a day, 3 snacks a day, and staying well hydrated. I can't emphasize how good coconut water is for hydration, because it's just got so many minerals and vitamins in it that are really good for you and are supportive of your nutrition and breastfeeding. And then the other thing, of course, is for them every now and again, especially if baby is feeding voraciously and seems insatiable, and if you've had a period of time of them feeding a lot and you really do need a break, and this would be when you need to trust that they've had enough and you can just take a break, even if it's just for 1 hour, for your partner to take the baby and for them not to be afraid to hold the baby and put their little baby finger in with the palm of the finger facing up to the palate and letting the baby suck on their baby finger, or just finding all the ways of comforting the baby. So rocking, swinging, swaying, and we're going to talk about it in another video. But just to give you a little bit of a break so that you can get a cat nap and come back renewed and refreshed and ready to start again, knowing that this period will end. You just have to ride this really incredibly difficult wave, this time when the breast milk is establishing and coming in, and it feels so uncomfortable, and like, is this how your life is going to be for the next 21 years? And it's not. Unfortunately, it's very often the time when you are discharged from the hospital. So it could be your first night at home. So making sure that you've got the right support, being mindful of the change in hormones and the release and how much of an emotional experience it is, the overwhelm that comes with being at home for the first night with your baby, and recognizing that this little baby is so dependent on you and all the feels that come with that, and just going with it. Really express your emotions. Don't hold them in. The more you hold them in, we know how important it is to express our emotions, but mirror your baby and let your baby mirror you. So if you're crying a lot and your baby's crying a lot, that's okay. You're mirroring each other, but holding it is not going to do any good for anybody. So allow those emotions to flow freely, and get comfortable soothing your crying baby and not thinking that you have to fix or stop your baby from crying. This is also their way of expressing their emotions and sharing with you how they feel. And sometimes they feel overwhelmed too. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, so are they. And it's okay. Listen to them. I just want you to think how it feels when you are crying. You definitely don't want anybody shushing you and telling you. You definitely want somebody comforting you, but you don't want somebody saying, stop crying. Sometimes you need to express those emotions. And so the way that you like to be comforted is the way that your baby wants to be comforted by you. And if you feel that the person who is comforting you is really anxious and can't wait to get away, and they don't know what to do with you and they don't know what to say and whatever, that makes you feel uneasy. It's not a safe place for you to express your emotions. So be the safe place that your baby needs and wants to express how they are feeling. And it's okay for them to cry. They will not be emotionally damaged by crying, because all babies cry. And what they want is to be heard and listened to and felt. And for as long as you are listening to and responding to your baby's cries, they will feel safe. And that is a really, really healthy space for them and for you in this time of getting to know your baby. Your baby is a mirror for you. So just be mindful of that. And if you're finding yourself incredibly anxious, then as simple and as silly as what it sounds, a couple of slow, deep breaths will really help to soothe your nervous system. And in soothing your nervous system will help to soothe your baby's nervous system.